Merchandising, where the real money from the podcast is made. Thrive Loud the t-shirt, Thrive Loud the coloring book, Thrive Loud the lunchbox, Thrive Loud the breakfast cereal, Thrive Loud the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud, connecting into the most inspiring and amazing and absolutely fun-filled people that you will ever come across here on this planet. I'm Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have a broadcast journalist and TV personality and author. Her book, The Full Spirit Workout, a 10-step system to shed your self-doubt, strengthen your spiritual core, and create a fun and fulfilling life, is literally everywhere these days. And more importantly, we're going to dive right into this incredible stuff that she does. Thrive Loud listeners, Kate Eckman. Kate, how are you today?
I'm so well because I'm here with you. I feel like I have to share with your audience that I just called you Kermit the Frog and me Miss Piggy because of your phenomenal green office. And then I thought, is that a compliment or diss that I'm calling myself Miss Piggy? I think a compliment.
I think either way. First of all, they're Muppets, so they're rock stars right out of the gate. And secondly, yes, for those who've seen any of our Thrive Loud live video screens, yes, usually this is where we put up all of our fun little graphical information, and it doubles as a green screen, which is all cool. And yeah, we're digging this, but I'm not going to call you Miss Piggy, Kate, during this interview, as much as I love Miss Piggy. We're going to talk about this because you've got a cool little journey. And what I would love for you to do for the listeners, I don't want to do the full rewind back to the womb. I want to do like the rewind to the point that's like, this is how what you're doing now became your gig. Is that fair enough to get everyone up to speed?
Yeah, that is fair. And thank you again for having me here. Muppets aside, my whole life really growing up was about athletics. I had a 17-year competitive swimming career, swam all through college at Penn State. And so I knew how hard I had to train my physical muscles to compete at a high level. And as I went about my career, I had a forward-facing career working as a, like you said, broadcast journalist. I've been an international TV host selling beauty products all over the world for QVC and HSN. I was a professional model for more than a decade. And, on camera, building success. On the outside, it looked like I had it all together. And I experienced not one, but two massive wake-up calls. And that is losing my ex-boyfriend and a best friend to suicide in 1 year. And it completely changed the trajectory of my life. And not only did I have to deal with the grief of losing these beautiful people so shockingly and tragically, but I also really had to examine the way I was choosing to live my life, who, like many or even most people, got all of my worth from the externals, what I look like, how much money I was making, all the jobs I was booking, all the people I was impressing, things like that. And I realized that when we do that, we can truly never have enough or be enough. And as you know, the rat race that is New York City and these careers, you walk around New York City and you feel downright poor because you're like, oh, I found the street I want to live on and the house. And you're like, oh, it's $17 million to live in this apartment. So, especially if you're in that environment, it's so important to really build that confidence and resilience from within. So my life really depended on coming up with a new keys to a better way of living. And knowing how hard I trained my physical muscles, I thought there must be a way to train my attitudinal muscles, my mental, emotional, spiritual muscles. And I went back to school, to Columbia, got all sorts of degrees and certifications in the sciences to really put this program together and help all of us become spiritually fit and really navigate not just our internal world, but the external world more effectively.
Kate, I love this. You had a problem. You saw it in yourself. You want personal stories, and I'm so sorry to hear about the losses of such close people in your life. My question here is, what made you say you wanted to help somebody else?
Because it's never just enough when it's about us, right? Because we've achieved the goal, we've gotten the shiny object, and then it's like the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I think my clients, my coaching clients really showed me this too. I work with multimillionaires and professional athletes. I have a billionaire client, and they don't feel fulfilled, which is insane because they have everything that our society says you should feel like $1 million. And while they've got millions of bucks, they're lacking in meaning and fulfillment and fun and joy. And so they're asking the questions, what does all this mean? Is this as good as it gets? And I certainly looked around and saw people who were struggling. And when two people who I knew and loved very personally, who were the cream of the crop, chose to end their lives. And around the time we're losing Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain and Robin Williams, and pick your beloved celebrity, I thought, this is a crisis and nobody is talking about it. And even in my own experience, you say the word suicide, people shut down, people walk away from you, people judge you. There's so much shame around this. And you never grow up and think, I want to be a suicide prevention activist. I want to speak publicly about mental health and tell all my deep, dark secrets and how I've struggled. But that's where life gets really juicy. I've seen how my vulnerability has allowed other people to be vulnerable. When I tell the truth, other people are inspired to share their truth and stop pretending. And so this is one of my greatest life assignments. It's very hard. It's heartbreaking. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of emotional hangovers, but this is where life becomes fulfilling, not because of a certain amount of money, not because I look a certain way, but I'm getting people to open up and tell the truth and connect more deeply with themselves. And that to me is worth its weight in gold.
Oh, that's beautiful. Aside from all the cool analogies between you being an athlete and obviously getting fit, toned, and strong, inside versus outside, as you recognize that there's certain things that you need to build back up, right? If people have been broken back down, there's certain things you need to find the strength of. And obviously you've got an enthusiasm that's just awesome and it just exudes confidence. Can you share with the listeners, you've got a whole bunch of other acronyms of confidence. You've got the 5 P's of confidence. Can you share with listeners what that is?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to talk about because everyone struggles with confidence in some way. And people are always asking, how can I be more confident? And again, they think it's something externally. But the 5 P's through my research are presence, patience, purpose, preparation, and practice. And because I love you and your audience, I'm going to give you 2 bonus P's. And that's pause and person, as in be a person. And I'll go through them quickly because we don't have hours and hours, but presence, that's, bringing your presence, showing up like you mean it. And you've got something to say, the energy, enthusiasm, and also being present. Putting your devices away, showing up fully for whomever is in front of you, whether it's even if it's just yourself or it's someone you like or don't like, but being all there, being fully present. This is a practice, which a lot of people struggle with. But I love if you have kids or animals, that they call you out more than anyone. They look at you like, oh my gosh, what is cuter and more important than my face? Why are you on your phone? So presence. And then we're moving on to patience. And patience stems from the Latin word for suffering. So no wonder we're all having a hard time with patience because we're suffering while we wait for our thing that we want. But a perfect story to illustrate this is 20 years ago, country singer Shelby Lynn won Best New Artist at the Grammys. This is the only acceptance speech I've ever remembered from any award show. It stuck with me because she accepted her award and she was gracious, but she said, Best New Artist. It only took me 13 years and 6 albums to get here. And I appreciated the little bit of snark and sass. And she also said, it's always been all about the work for me. And I think that leads me to my next P of purpose. So Shelby had a very strong why. She wasn't in it for the glitz or the glam, or quite frankly, to win a Grammy. She was in it for the music. She wanted to communicate. And you know how we all feel when we hear a song that really moves us. So purpose is your why. Why is this important to you? And the days where you can't show up for yourself, show up for your fans, show up for an organization, show up for a cause greater than you, and that will keep you going. Preparation, of course, when we're prepared, we build better habits. habits, which lead to improved behaviors, which lead to increased results, which of course boosts confidence. Practice, I think of Tom Brady, who feels like a friend, even though I've never met him, but we were both Big Ten athletes at the same time. I swam at Penn State. He, of course, played football at Michigan. And this man is still winning Super Bowls. My knees hurt when I go to Pilates. And that really speaks to this man practices, not because he's the worst, but because he's the best. So we all have the Super Bowl that we're striving for. You got to show up and put in the reps. You can't, can you imagine if Tom Brady just walked around like, well, I've already won a Super Bowl. I don't have to practice anymore. I can just show up. No, practice. Pause is really the essence of spiritual fitness. It's about reactivity. Or non-reactivity, excuse me. So, we all want to tell the jerk that he's being a jerk. We all want to answer that nasty email immediately and tell them what's up. But this is taking that pause, knowing, wow, if I really tell this person how I feel right now, it may damage or even end the relationship. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to have my little adult timeout, take a breath, and become more non-reactive, become more practiced at non-reactivity. Person is another favorite too. As my speaking coach, Eduardo, says, just be a freaking person. I have struggled with perfectionism. I'm obsessed with performance, which I write about in the book from something that happened to me when I was 4 years old at the swim club. But when we're just a freaking person, we are showing our authenticity and our humanity. And that is really sexy and good enough and fun. So just be a freaking person. Have a little more fun. Your humanity and your imperfections are awesome.
The Thrive Loud listeners need to know that when I started to hit upon this topic, when I mentioned that Kate is enthusiastic, she literally was like giggling with glee, like ready to explode before she released that information. Like, oh my God, I'm going to talk about this. I know how to do this. I can't wait to talk about it. Just totally amazing. I mean, like how much you believe and you're passionate about this.
I am. That's one thing I am not lacking in is passion, but I am excited because all I hear, people make so many excuses. Everyone wants you to enroll in the ain't it awful? I'm not enrolling in it. No, we have choices. We have the tools. And especially when I have poured my heart and soul into this project, you've got 320 pages of practical tools and strategies and exercises that I've made fun. Fun is in the subtitle. I myself don't want to do anything that sucks or is boring or is, too difficult. So I think I just invite people to really look within themselves beneath all the titles and labels and really decide who you want to be and how important these goals are to you and how important it is for you to live the life you say you want to live. What's up? Let's go.
Hey, Kate, I've got a good question here because this is interesting. We're recording this in June of 2021. It's been quite an interesting 15 some odd months that we've all had to go through. And a lot of people have they've either been on one edge or the other. They've either been in the having too much time on their hands and getting depressed from stuff that happened in the back end, being a little bit nervous about the world that we're in right now and being anxious about what's moving forward or where we are today. And these issues are hurting every level of performers, not only millionaires, billionaires, or top CEOs or leaders, but it's hurting everyone. As all of this was going on, and you've got your skills and your niche of what you do well, is there something that's more symptomatic of late that you've been seeing in your seat with the people you're working with based on what's been going on this past year? Because I'd love to hear it from your perspective to somebody who's obviously optimistic and keeping people forward and knows how to develop them, but maybe there's one symptom or one type of thing that you're seeing more often than not.
I think people are really struggling to tell themselves the truth of how challenging this past year has been oh gosh, I really can't stand this job or career anymore, but what do I do? Or I don't know what to do. I think people are feeling out of options in some ways. I think people are just frantically treading water, trying to stay afloat, and people have forgotten who they are, quite frankly. And I think we're judging ourselves now more than ever because we judge other people, but when you're judging someone else, you're really judging yourself. But there is this level of judgment I'm seeing where I'm so tired and I'm going to judge myself for it. And as I like to say, just look at like what have you even done or survived the past 15 months alone. It's appropriate that you're tired. As I like to say, if you're at this point, if you're not a little stressed, anxious, or depressed, then I worry about you because you aren't paying attention. And it's not enough that just we are doing well, or maybe we're not struggling too bad. I think if you look around and see that people are really struggling, I mean, people die of starvation in the United States of America every day, while there are billionaires all around us. So there are a lot of upsetting things happening on every level. But I think right now people, they've forgotten that they are powerful, and they think that they need a million shiny objects to be worthy of anything, and that they really don't have the power or confidence to turn the ship around if they don't like where they're going. And I think that's why you saw me light up just talking about these tools that are free that we all have access to. We just, quite frankly, aren't practiced at listening. I'm not talking to our ego mind who says, you suck, you don't add up, you don't do it as good as Sally. Look, Johnny started where you are. He's a millionaire. Why are you still making this 50K a year? What's wrong with you? I'm talking about that divine wisdom that we all have access to, like a download on the computer that you just have to press download and bring it from your head down into your heart, make it wisdom in your body. And people just don't think that they have access to this. And then they're mad. They see, let's say someone like me, it's like, oh, well, why does she have access to it? It's just like, we all do. We don't think that we do. We don't think that we're powerful, or that there is a power greater than us working for us behind the scenes.
What's the key trigger that you help someone embrace the power or ignore the FOMO or the other things that are going on? What's the thing that you do to trigger them to get into gear?
Well, besides asking all the questions in a coaching engagement, for example, to get them deep within themselves, ask them things no one's ever asked them to really get to the heart of the matter and truth of who they are. But I recommend everyone do something extremely counterintuitive in our culture. And it's what I call my sit and stare time, where you sit and you stare out the window in front of you. You are completely quiet. You're in a room by yourself, which sounds horrifying to some people. You're not checking in on your phone, and check in with yourself like you were a small child, and say, how are you doing? What do you need right now? What's working? What isn't? And if you're feeling extra brave and courageous and bold, say, I'm so proud of you. You handled that really uncomfortable conversation with such grace and compassion. Or, you got really triggered today because your value was being threatened, and you chose to react with kindness and take a pause rather than acting out of anger or acting out, so to speak. Or, wow, you have been sitting at home by yourself for 6 months and you're still energetic and you're still wanting to help people in a profound way. Brava. It sounds almost silly because we don't speak to ourselves like this mostly. What is it like? Oh my God, I can't, like, you ate that, you've gained so much weight. What's wrong with you? You look terrible. Or, oh my gosh, like, you really said something so stupid. You messed up that whole presentation. How could you? We speak to ourselves that if someone spoke to us that way to our face, you want to punch them, or it would be, you would feel so enraged. Yet we speak to ourselves like that all the time. And again, we don't even realize it. And then we go about our lives collecting evidence for why that limiting belief lie is the truth, and wonder why we feel like crap all the time.
You've got such a smile. It's so funny. Even when she says the word crap, she's like actually laughing as she's talking. Okay. Hey, this is the question I love to ask guests on this show. I want to see where this goes to someone specific like you. On most days, you're totally kicking on all cylinders and thriving. Things are upbeat and you've got that positive attitude. But we all do have days, even yourself included here, when we're not on our A game and we're a little off. Kate Eckman, when you have trouble thriving, who or what practice do you seek to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Yeah, I do my sit and stare. I do meditation. I have peer coaches that I studied with in grad school that I will reach out to and be totally candid and not try to look cool or impress anyone, and just be like, Kobe Bryant just came to mind. He's one of my all-time favorite athletes. His book, Mamba Mentality, is behind me in my office. His presence is near me a lot, which is comforting and empowering. But he said something years ago about, and I'm paraphrasing, but I have days I show up at the arena, my back hurts, my knees hurt, I think I don't have it, but I don't succumb to that. I rise above it and let it fuel me. And I think he was such a champion of that and a champion of not caring what anybody thought about him. And he let negativity fuel him. But quite frankly, when I'm in that place, I acknowledge it. I don't pretend. If we allow emotions to move through us and not, suppress or block or judge, they move through us quite quickly. And then it's like, wow, you were really grumpy there for a minute. Not judging it, but just, yeah, because I'm human. Oh my gosh, I had a human moment. What a concept. But I allow myself to take some downtime. If I have meetings or stuff set up, of course, I make sure I'm present with the person in person or on camera on the computer. But I will say, you are exhausted. You are grumpy. You need to go sit your butt down and meditate. Or I'm just like, you know what? You have 3 more hours of work to do. It can wait. And I let myself off the hook and take a walk or meet up with a friend or really just get in bed and be like, whew, you are spinning. You need to chill out. I think anytime we can spend in guilt-free, judgment-free, art of doing nothing space will really benefit us.
Love it. The Full Spirit Workout. Tell me from your perspective what the writing process was like for you. Was it like, oh, I've got it all between my ears and it just kept spewing out of me? Or it was like, dear God, I'm giving birth to a, 820-pound gorilla. What was it like to extract the Full Spirit Workout out of Kate Eckman?
What a great question. And I think there's so many myths around book writing too. So thank you for this. Before COVID, before I was even like, what's COVID? I booked a 2-week writing retreat in the Berkshires. And that date was, I think, 10 days after the lockdown last March. So it was isolation on top of isolation. I had just completed my master's degree at Columbia. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I took exams, the whole thing. And I'm not 25 anymore, so I'm like, this is a lot of work. But I get to this lake house and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to write a book now. And I was on a really tight turnaround. I had 4.5 months to write this manuscript, to write 90,000 words. But I really leaned on, one of my favorite questions to ask clients when they are stuck is, what made you successful in the past? So I asked myself this and I went back to my swimming career and right away, discipline came to, you have to be so disciplined to be an athlete, but especially a swimmer. Who wants to dive into a cold pool at 4:30 in the morning for 17 years? You have to be a bit of a freak to be a swimmer. So I really just leaned into that. I leaned into my trust and surrender muscle. I called in the, God, angels, everybody, and just really asked for help energetically. But what I found was when I set up my little ritual each morning with my espresso and my candles and looked out at nature, I just got in the flow. I think there's something powerful about like, oh, I've spent all this money to be here and write. I need to write. And I just really let myself be in the flow. That first day alone at the lake house, when I started the day crying to my mother, crying to my best friend, eating 3 bagels out of stress. But once I cleared all that out, I probably wrote 8,000 words that first day. I don't know how. I am a writer, but I really just got out of my own way and let it flow. And the first thing I wrote about, quite frankly, was the challenge of the task at hand. That part is not in the book. It's an article at another publication, but really admitting this is so hard, meaning COVID, the lockdown, the uncertainty, having to perform, having to produce, having to work during this time. And I wrote about it again, because I'm like, gosh, if I'm feeling this, millions of other people must be feeling it. So I think just letting myself be, but without going on and on, which I feel like I already am. I wrote a third of my book in those first 2 weeks. And then I was in the flow. And then I was just like, but there is something about a deadline and being under contract, that really motivated me. And I had written articles for publications for years. So I adapted some of them. Some of them are in the book in certain ways, paragraphs or ideas. So that gave me inspiration. But my number one tip to anybody, because everyone and their mother tells me they want to write a book, is you've got to have a super strong why. My why is Salmon Roth, and anyone who struggles with mental health, which is everyone, by the way, and just really being honest in my writing, just not trying to edit or look cool or say all the right things, but really just, I had all the research and then just was really honest about the struggles, and I found it just flowed.
I also love how you embrace the entire Berkshire experience with the candles and the nature and everything. It's kind of cool at the lake house. Very, very nicely done there.
And it was like high of 40 every day in April, but whatever.
In isolation, of course. Let's do this, Kate. Let's do the admin part of the show. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you, your websites, your book, where they can get it, social links. We will put it all in the show notes of the program, but it always gets more engaged when they hear from you.
Yes. So it's kateeckman.tv, KATEECKMAN.tv, like the thing you watch. You can go to thefullspiritworkout.com for all the information on the book. It's sold online and everywhere books are sold in the stores that still exist, luckily. And I'm Kate Eckman everywhere on social. Would love to connect with you there. I have such a great community where we really are all about collaboration and connection rather than competition and all the other icky stuff we often run into on the interweb. So I also recommend that you check out the meditations on my site. They're all there for free. I mixed and mastered them. Well, my sound engineer did in high frequency. So you really take yourself on a journey of self-discovery. And it's also very soothing to both your brain and body.
Kate Eckman, you ready for Fun Street here on Thrive Loud? Because what listeners need to know, for those who are going to catch, we'll give some social clips on this. Every time she's smiling when I'm asking her a question, it's in full, like I've got every pearly white coming out over here, showing all the teeth, totally laughing it up, smiling it in. She's totally embracing it. Obviously you're ready for Fun Street, I guess.
I feel like I live on Fun Street, and I'm showing off I'm a dentist daughter, showing off the teeth, and I'm also sweating because I'm always hot. But whatever, here we go. I'm ready.
It's June. It's hot. It's first of all, can you share with the listeners what you shared with me was your all-time favorite movie, if you remember?
American Beauty.
Why does that movie connect so much with you?
Oh, I'll never forget just being in the theater, thinking it was one thing, and it takes you on a whole other journey. But just again, what a movie about the truth. It was in a world where everyone's pretending, and it was so raw emotionally, where I was shook. The characters were so strong. And again, Ricky Fitz, who he was the outcast and the you don't fit in because of all the things. And he was so pure and so authentic and so confident in his, outcast persona. But really, he was the strong one. He was the cool one because he was himself and wasn't pretending to be anything other than that, which everyone around him was.
There's a point in that movie I like. I know that there's a lot of cancel culture out there because of the Academy Award-winning actor from that movie. He has a great line in it, which is when he learns that his daughter is in love with someone, and he goes that, you've loved like in life and how important that was. I thought that was like, that's good. He just said it very simply, like, it's good that you got to do that. I was like, nice little touch. The movie definitely has a lot of accents. And what's her name is spectacular in it.
Spectacular. And then Ricky's dad, Chris, his name's escaping me.
Chris Cooper. Chris Cooper.
Thank you. Was phenomenal. But how he was so homophobic, so anti-gay because he was, and just the self-loathing that got directed outwards toward Kevin Spacey. I mean, just all of it was so. Do you talk about a movie and character development and sociology and our culture? And that was 2000, and it's still my favorite movie to this day. And you're making me want to go watch it again right now because the acting's phenomenal too, right?
Oh, it's top notch across the board. All right, we're gonna do this right now. We're gonna do the speed round of Fun Street. Hey, this is how this rolls. She goes like this. She shrugs herself. Ooh, goody, we're gonna do it. Okay, the way this works, Kate, is I'm gonna ask you something. I want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, make you feel good, motivate you. Most of them make you thrive. You ready?
I love this. Okay, I'm ready.
A song of late that's like your jam or one that pumps you up.
Oh, that Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber. Because I don't care. I don't want to make anyone's ears bleed, but it's that I'm at a party I don't want to be at. I love that. It's a great beat, but what a great line. And then he's like, I don't care because I'm with you. And it's beautiful.
A favorite food that's not a dessert.
Pizza.
Favorite dessert.
Oh gosh, that's hard. I want to be Italian, so I went gelato, chocolate. Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
An activity you wish you did more of.
Oh, I wish I still swam.
An activity you wish you did less of.
Oh, God. I hate saying Zoom because I'm connecting to so many people via Zoom, but I think screen time. I wish I did less screen time and more in person and more outside.
If I snap my fingers, Kate, and you can go anywhere in the world, where are you?
Lake Como.
And why?
Oh, I've been there several times, and I feel so alive and lit up there and peaceful. And I am a Aquarius. I'm a swimmer. I'm a bath taker every night. I just love to be around water, and that place just feels magnificent.
For our listeners, Kate, to take us out here, if there's one big takeaway that they can leave with from the Full Spirit workout, what would that be?
I think that you are so powerful. I want to remind you how powerful you are and that you can do anything you decide is important enough. The time is now. We're nearing midnight. We're not quite there, but it's like 11:58, and we got to get it together and use our unique gifts, identify and leverage our strengths, not just for our success, but for the success of everyone around us in the world. And you can do it. And quite frankly, you owe it. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for me. Do it for anyone else listening. Do it for the people who don't have your opportunities. And let's embrace that and embrace our power. And let's do this together.
I can't believe that was just one thing. Which means you need to go out and get it and check out the book when you get a chance. Kate, spectacular stuff. Your energy is just contagious. And I hope I know our listeners got a chance to feel that from you, because I certainly got to feel it right here. So thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud.
Thank you so much. Giving you a big energetic hug around the computer, my friend, my new friend. You're the best. Thank you.
You got it. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Maybe I am somebody. I can deal with the bad nights when I'm with my baby.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.